Welcome to This Week in High School Sports. I'm Teresa Whipple with the ever-enthusiastic Steve Willett.
Ever enthusiastic?
Yeah,
that works for me.
Got your adjective in there. Yeah. Hey, I wanted to take a moment to thank Sean Richards, our sponsor from Red Onion Burgers, for the wonderful Shop with a Cop event that he put on this past week. There were more than 120, I believe, children who received gift cards and were able to shop with first responders at Target. We were there taking pictures, and it was just an incredible event.
Yeah, he does that every single year, and we're hoping that he continues that into the future. Really does a lot of good for the community, and certainly at this time of year when folks are in need, he always seems to step up and help them out. So thank you, Sean.
Yeah, and the most heartwarming part of it for me, in addition to watching the children get the gift cards and be able to shop, but also the first responders talking about what it meant to them to be able to do it. They see so much tragedy and so much negativity in their jobs.
Absolutely.
To be able to just take a night out and do something good for the community made them feel good as well.
Definitely a win-win situation.
Yep. All right, so we're going to move on to basketball, right?
We are. Good week for most of our teams around here. We'll start off by talking about the boys' teams. Mount Lake Terrace, undefeated so far through 4 games. They got a 61-48 victory on Friday night over Snohomish. And in that game, Mason Peterson, 5 3-pointers, scored 17 points overall. Jace Brakefield, 16 points, and Mason Christensen, 10 points. So well done, guys. Lynnwood picked up their first win of the season with a 50-39 win over Everett. Jerry Boston scoring 17 points in that game, and the bench getting it done. They chipped in with 20 points as well. And then Meadowdale, a nice 52-38 victory over Snohomish on Wednesday, a game that I was able to attend. Colton Walsh and Cole Nelson each scoring 16 points, and maybe the biggest storyline in this game, not Colton Walsh, but Colton Smith, another Colton, held to 4 points for Snohomish. This was a player who was averaging over 25 points per game on the season. So nicely done for the Mavericks to get a victory there. And also Edmonds-Woodway, not quite as good of news, but certainly a game worth mentioning. They lost to Marysville-Pilchuck on Friday night, 55-53. This is a Pilchuck team that most people are projecting to not only win Wesco 3A this year, but also think that they could maybe make some noise at the state tournament. Edmonds-Woodway going into the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. They lost on a buzzer beater as Raekwon Battle, who is already signed to go to play for the University of Washington next year, scored his final 2 of his 43 points in the final seconds of the game to defeat Edmonds-Woodway. Raekwon Battle also had 19 rebounds in that game. But one positive note, Madoon Bowl for Edmonds-Woodway with 25 points. And again, Edmonds-Woodway is not going to probably play a tougher opponent, certainly on paper anyway, for the remainder of the season in league play. So to be able to hang with Marysville-Pilchuck like that, it's a pretty solid accomplishment in itself. So nicely done for those guys. Yeah.
And we have girls' results too, right?
We do. Edmonds-Woodway, again, playing very well. 2 victories this past week, one of which was a 74-24 victory over Marysville-Pilchuck. 4 different players scoring in double digits for the Warriors in that game. Adrian Poling, Ingrid Fosberg, Brooke Kearney, and Jaden Warham. So congratulations to those ladies. Lynnwood, the Royals, picking up a 66-55 win over Everett. And I definitely want to give a Player of the Week shirt out for this one. Our Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week, Nakia Boston, scoring 28 points. And not only am I giving this out to her for the 28 points, but this is a young lady who had a pretty rough go of it a couple weeks ago. Late in the game, actually collapsed, had a medical issue, was transported out of the gym in an ambulance. And so for her to come back and to have a 28-point performance, Nakia, you've earned this. So Nakia Boston is our Player of the Week. Nicely done. And then we're going to talk about the Meadowdale Mavericks girls basketball team. They've won 2 of their first 4 games this year. Vast improvement from where they've been in the past. 4 victories 2 years ago during the entire season. They won 9 out of 23 games last year. So already they're looking a lot better. A team that's really fun to watch and really exciting. And so we're going to have an interview right now with 2 of their players, 2 of their starters, Alicia and Fatou, members of the Meadowdale Mavericks girls basketball team. The Meadowdale Mavericks girls basketball team is off to a 2-2 start to their season And joining us right now, two of the starters on the team, Alesia Morrison, who is a junior, and Jaiteh, who is a sophomore. Ladies, thank you for being here, and great start to the season. It kind of feels good to get a few wins, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And Alicia, for you, this is a team that only won 4 games your freshman year,
Yeah.
9 last year. Does it kind of feel like the team progressively gets better?
I think we're progressing a lot, and it's great, and it feels good too.
Now, what's been the biggest difference on this team? Why?
I think a lot of the girls have worked on the off season than they did the year before, and like really buckling down and focusing on getting more wins and like going on to the next level in districts.
And let's talk about a couple of the wins last week. You went 2-0, defeating Monroe by 18 points and Everett by 10. So not only Fatu are you winning, you're winning fairly large. And this is a team that over the last couple of years, a lot of games were really rough, and then even the games that you won were always kind of close. Are you enjoying some of these games a little bit more, knowing that when you show up, you got a chance?
I am.
What's been the biggest difference for you?
For me, it'd be like 8th grade year going into high school. I didn't really play basketball like that, you know. It was like I didn't play AAU or anything like that. And then freshman year, after high school season, I like started getting into the gym more because I wanted to do better the next year because nobody was graduating. We was mostly going to have the same squad, so
You knew that
I gotta.
harder work pays off, and you had a chance to get a few more victories.
Exactly.
And you've done just that. And we should mention you were out this week. You only had 1 game, and that was the loss to Snohomish, a team that finished, I think, 3rd in the state last year. So that's a tough team. What is your injury, and when are we going to see you back out on the floor?
I got a concussion in the Everett game when I hit my head on the ground pretty hard, but I should be good by Tuesday when we play Arlington.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll see her back out there then.
Yeah.
And a Snohomish team that we mentioned, the Panthers are always tough.
Yeah.
And Alicia, you guys led Snohomish at halftime. Kind of a little bit of a surprise even for you and the Mavs? Or?
Yeah, it was because when we played them previously, we were used to kind of almost getting smacked by them. But I think this year we wanted it more. Like we want to get further in the line. So I think we really just buckled down on it and just went after it.
And so for the two of you, I know it always helps too when we've got girls who are playing not only at high school but away from the school as well. And you're both AAU players. Yeah. You both play with other members of the team who also play AAU. How helpful is that for you when you're playing? Not just 2 or 3 months out of the year, but Fatu, you're playing 6, 7 months and even longer sometimes.
Yeah, it's like almost year round playing with them like that, and then come into high school ball knowing that you've both improved, and then bringing that chemistry into high school ball feels good.
And it sounds like not only do you play AAU ball, you play on a pretty good team.
Yeah, we do.
you went to Atlanta, Georgia this past offseason to play in some national championships. How did that go?
That actually went really great. I think we had so many seniors on our team. It was like their last year, and so I think we wanted it a lot. So I think that helped us get to the championship and do great in there. I was really proud. Any
other Meadowdale players on that team, or
no? It's
just the 2 of us.
So let's give them a shout out. Who's the team we're playing for, and who's the coach?
Northwest Greyhounds. Hey, Coach Buck.
Coach.
And so they're based out of where? Are they local?
Tacoma, Seattle area.
Okay, you're traveling a little
Yeah,
ways
we
then.
are.
And how much better does that make you as a player, though, when you're playing against all this top-tier talent?
I think it makes us a lot better.
A lot better.
Yeah, it makes us, just to go from there to high school, I think it gives us a different mindset.
And having a coach that really pushes you hard in practice and in games, it helps a lot.
It goes a long ways.
Yeah, it does.
So now let's get back to this Mavs team. I want to hear a little more about who they are. Before we talk about the other players in the team, I'm going to have the two of you talk about each other for a minute.
Okay.
Alicia, tell me a little bit about Fatu and what she brings to the team and what kind of a player she is and what kind of a teammate she is.
I think Fatu has great leadership. She is definitely someone that works hard, keeps you on top of your game, always picks you up. She's actually a great person to like add to the team. So when she first came here, I was really pumped. We've never had so many bigs. Like I was playing a big and I was only 5'4", and it was hard. And when you add her to the mix, it just shows like great. She's great. It's greatness when she plays down there.
Always a threat to get a double-double in any game too.
And she makes it so easy for us to get her the ball, and she just always goes to the hoop strong, looks for the passes. She's not selfish. She just does great things out there.
Very nice. And Fatu, that's 6 foot tall. A lot of times you get those mismatches underneath, but we've seen 6 foot players in the past who maybe have the height, but they don't have the ability. How has that been for you? I mean, obviously there's some really good post players in this league. Are you
Yeah.
you enjoying going up against them on a regular basis?
I do. I like a good challenge.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You definitely get those on a nightly basis here.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about Alicia a little bit and what kind of a teammate and player she is.
I think she's a great teammate. I love playing AAU ball with her, and we definitely get on each other's nerves, but at the end of the day, it's like we're almost sisters, you know?
Yeah.
And she's a great shooter, and she drives down the lane hard, and she does a really good job of finishing.
Kind of a dual threat with the
Yeah.
ball then. She can do a little bit of everything.
Exactly.
Very nice. And it's not just the two of you on this Mavericks team, so let's talk a little bit about your teammates. Alicia, you are a guard, so I'll have you start off by maybe talking a little bit about who is out on the perimeter with you.
So we have Taylor. Taylor is a great threat. She is super fast. Like, she's the fastest on our team.
Yes.
She has great speed, and that really helps when she's bringing down the ball, going against other girls, because her speed just gives her the edge.
And that's Kesselring, right? Taylor
Yes,
Kesselring? Okay.
We have Keisha. Keisha has great defense, and she can really handle the ball really well. Her defense has actually led to so many turnovers for the other team, and it helps us get our fast breaks of what we're actually looking for this season. So that helps a lot. We have Lily.
It's Keisha Stark?
Yes, Keisha Stark, yeah. Sorry. Lily Williams. Lily Williams, she's a great three-point shooter, and her mid-range is even deadlier. And when we're able to get a good play in and get her the ball, she can shoot the heck out of that ball. She comes through, especially in clutch time.
One of the top scorers in West
Yes,
Coast,
she
right? Yeah.
is. Sarai Swinton, she was a great ad when we got her, I believe, last year. She's great at looking up the floor. Her passes are amazing, and she's even gotten better at driving too. So that makes her even more of a double threat. And her and Keisha together, that's like perfect. And it's like chemistry.
And we've got Cameron Cassidy back again this year, right?
Yes, Cameron Cassidy. She's been working on her game so much. I'm like really proud of her. Her shot has evolved a lot, and she's starting to look great. Her defense looks amazing out there too.
Yep.
She's really hustling, getting rebounds, getting steals, making great passes. So it's good to see her.
And then down low, who are we looking at for the post players?
We are looking at, well, Adrienne is not really a post player. She's more like a 3 and 4, and she's very consistent with her shots.
That's
Like,
Adriana Valadez, right?
Yeah, Adriana Valdez. And then she's a great leader too. Like, she's the one, she gives great speeches, like in the locker rooms and practice.
Yeah.
Those are always important.
Yeah. And then we have Maya Oswald. Maya's definitely improved in her game. She's gotten stronger, and her mid-range shot is deadly. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we have
Cassidy Gamble, too.
Gamble. Yes, Cassidy. Well, she hasn't really played in any games because she's been out with an injury. But I love going up against her in practice because she really pushes me, and we push each other to, like, get better, you know? She's a great defender, and she has a great mid-range shot as well. Yeah.
And Kaylee Watmore's also on the team.
Yes,
So it's,
Watts. Ooh. Watts I would say she's the most improved out of,
The group.
yeah.
I saw your eyes kind of light up when I mentioned her name there, so I
Yeah.
figured you had something good to say about her.
Yeah.
Very good.
Her shot is very consistent, and she drives the lane really hard, too.
So I think we just mentioned every player on the team. So there's a lot of depth on this team,
Yeah,
right?
we do.
So it's very good. And new coach this year?
Yeah.
Tell us about Ari and how that's going, and
Yes,
similarities and maybe differences, compare and contrast maybe what you've experienced in the past.
I think Coach Ari's a great coach. He's, like, really calm and collected, and, like, when we're in tough times, you know, like in the middle of a game, and he just tells everyone to calm down, collect your bearings, and just go out there and kill it.
Yeah.
And he like pushes us in practices, especially. He jumps in every now and then too.
Yeah.
Oh, plays a little
Yeah.
bit
He
with you
going
too.
hard. Like,
Okay.
he pushes us. Like,
He does.
And it's like he's a boy too, and makes him a lot more stronger on the edge. And so when he pushes us, it makes us like a lot better as a player too.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's a fun team. Everybody gets along. Everybody likes each other. Do I get that impression?
Yeah, we do.
Very nice. Looking at your schedule here coming up, you've at Arlington on Tuesday. You have a home game against Getchell on Friday, and then we go into the holiday break. But you don't get much of a holiday break.
No, we don't.
Starting on
Yeah,
December
3 days off.
26th, you've got 3 games in 4 days.
Yeah.
Alicia, is that a good thing? Would you have liked to have had a little break, or?
I don't think I didn't want to break at all because I come from a basketball family, so I'm going to be spending my holidays with them, and so I'm really excited for them to come down and see me play and see how good my team's doing, and just to see us advance in the road.
Now, what about you, Fatu? No time off for you, really, other than you don't have to go to school, obviously, on those days. But
No, but it's like even when we have those two days off, like I'm usually in the gym trying to get better, whether it's work on conditioning or just all aspects of my game.
So we should tell everybody too. So December 26th, a home game against Lake Washington. The following day, you go to Kamiak, and then on Saturday, the 29th, at home against a very good Bishop Blanchette team. Always a tough team. So not exactly easy games on the schedule either. You're going to get tested a little bit.
Yeah, we are, especially since they have Talia now.
That's right. Yeah, Talia Clark, who was at Mariner last year. So a very good ball player there. As far as team rituals, anything? What does this team do before a game to get ready?
We'd huddle up like in a corner in the locker room, whether it's our locker room or another team's locker room. We'd huddle up in the corner, and then Adriana would pray. Well, we'd all pray with her, and then everyone has a word of the game. We put your foot in the middle of the circle, and then you just say your word of the game.
And the word of the game is something you're going to focus on during the game?
Yes,
Is that kind of the intent?
Yeah.
And it's worked so far, 2 victories out of 4 games. And we should also mention other interests as far as the two of you. Fatu, I know you want to maybe play a little soccer next year.
Yeah.
So that'll get the coach excited.
Yeah.
Have you played soccer in the past?
Yes, I used to play soccer when I was younger up until I got into basketball, and I kind of laid off of soccer. I'm thinking getting back into it next year.
And then Alicia, you're not even at school very often. You do the running start program, so
Yeah,
you're getting a little ahead for college. You're only there one period of the day, is that right?
Yeah, I am.
So what now? And that's not either the first or the last period. It's kind of right smack in the middle.
Yeah,
so.
it is in the middle. It's a really weird transition, but I do enjoy doing running start because I feel like it helps me mature, especially when I'm going to be a senior next year and I'm going to go to college, and it's really matured and helped me buckle down like on my work, and I think it really is going to help me in the long run.
So does basketball kind of help you in terms of staying connected to the Meadowdale community?
Yeah,
When you're only
it
there for
does.
one period a day and you're not there for lunch, it's kind of hard to keep up with everybody, right?
It is hard. I still do have a lunch there because of how our schedule works. I still have a first lunch there, so I do
Okay.
get to see some of my friends, but other than that, basketball really is what keeps me connected to with all the other girls.
And I should mention for you, too, even though you're only a junior, and sometimes we don't ask the underclass folks this question, but it sounds like you already kind of have a path as to what you want to do down the road,
Yeah,
right?
I do.
What are your plans for the future?
I want to sign my senior year with Howard University down in Washington, D.C. on a basketball scholarship and then attend their orthodontist program.
So orthodontist in the future for you, possibly.
Yes.
Good for you. And then Fatu, I know you're a little further out. You're only a sophomore, but you've already started thinking about your future a little bit too, right?
Yeah, I know I want to study law in college and also go to college on a basketball scholarship.
So 2 young ladies who are getting it done in the classroom, most importantly, and they're also getting it done on the basketball court. And we're looking forward to seeing how this Mavericks team plays out and how the season goes along for you. 2 wins and 2 losses to start the year, a much improved team, and these two are a very huge role in why that's happening this year. Alicia, Fatu, thank you both very much for coming in, and best of luck.
Thanks
Thanks
you for
for
having
having
us.
Well, those 2 young ladies have amazing career and educational aspirations and great basketball players as well.
Yeah, and they're so young. I mean, so often when we're interviewing juniors and sophomores, it's kind of hard to talk to them about what they want to do in terms of post-high school with college and even what their career aspirations are. But these two both seem to have a little bit of a plan already, which is great. Excellent students and also great basketball players. So it was a lot of fun to talk to them.
Yeah, it really was. And I know we're going to get to some swimmers who are, speaking of the segue into swimming, who have some amazing aspirations. But tell us what you have in terms of results.
Yeah, a few of our teams were participating last week, and we wanted to give a few shout-outs. Edmonds-Woodway went up against Mount Lake Terrace and Jackson earlier this week, and 2 individuals, Jeff Plume and Anton Tepluhoff, each with 2 individual victories per for those 2 guys. So congratulations to them. And then we're going to give away another Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week t-shirt. This goes out to Max Kapperman for Meadowdale. Max swam in 2 different meets last week, and if I understood this correctly based on the results that were posted, had 4 different individual victories in 4 different events. So apparently Max is good enough to where he can mix it up a little bit and pick and choose what he wants to swim on any given day and go out and pick up victories. So Max, we got a shirt with your name on it. Next time we see you, we'll get that out to you. You are the Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week. Congratulations. And one more note on swimming. The Lynnwood Royals, they picked up a nice dual meet victory last week. And we had a chance to bring in a couple of their swimmers and talk about the Royal season so far. 2 very impressive individuals, seniors, and we wanted to talk a little bit about their swim team, their swimming careers and also their future aspirations, which, as you mentioned earlier, are extremely impressive. Here's the interview we did with Andrew and David. Swimming season is underway, and joining us right now, two of the members of the Lynnwood Royals swim team, Andrew Carr and David Weitkamp, two seniors, I might add. Guys, first of all, thank you for being here, and congratulations on a nice victory on Tuesday, defeating both Mariner and Meadowdale in a multi-meet. Well done. Andrew, how's the season going for you so far?
This season has definitely been very interesting. It's been a lot of ups and downs. You know, I broke my back last year, and so it's been very difficult kind of find that balance during practices of pushing myself while not pushing myself too far to re-injure myself. And so my times, I mean, they've fluctuated a lot, but the consistency of the rest of the team has really helped to kind of up my season. And so especially our relays with Zach and Brian and soon Eli, it's been going really well.
How do you come back from a back injury like that? I've got to think swimming out of all the sports is probably a little bit easier to do it without so much strain and pounding on the back. I mean, what has that been like for you? How much rehabilitation has that required? And are you back to where your times were before?
Well, it's definitely been a process. I mean, it means that every 30 minutes I get out of the pool and I do my back stretches because it's all based off of this one muscle in my back that was too weak and it pulled everything out of place. And so, in turn, it has impacted my times definitely. Looking at last year, I had a big dip from where I was at sophomore year versus junior year. But this year, I'm on par with what I was at last year, and I'm seeing the improvements. And so I think I'm kind of getting back into my stride of where I was before.
Nicely done. And David, now, do I understand correctly, second-year swimmer?
Yes. First year, I swam a decent amount, but I wasn't there the whole season. So, I don't know. I was able to swim in practices a lot, but I was never really able to swim in a meet because I couldn't make it to enough of the practices. Whereas this year, I've already participated in 4 meets, 4 or 5. I've only missed one of the meets. So.
Now, you've done football all 4 years.
Yes.
You've played baseball. You've done track. Why swimming? Oh, this guy right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
He kind of convinced me, and I thought it would be a fun thing to try because I like trying new sports, and swim is a workout.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't realize it, but it's hard.
So coming into it for the first time, being relatively new, how do you find which events work best for you in terms of not only the event itself, but also the distance?
What I've noticed with swimming and just in general, I'm more of a sprinter, not really a long distance. So I've been able to learn to pace myself on land, like running, but swim, it's been very hard. So Tracy has kept me to the shorter distance events, and I'm not too familiar with the newer strokes. So she's kept me with the relatively easy freestyle.
Okay, so like the 50 and the 100, is that what we're more or less seeing you in? And then Andrew, how many different events do you swim?
With my back, it limits me from doing butterfly, and I can't do the backstroke start, and so I am a freestyle and a breast swimmer.
Okay, very good. And let's talk about some of the other swimmers on this team right now. And I guess we'll start off with Zach Butterfly Bevans. I know we've talked about him in the past here. How's he been doing this year? I understand 4 different victories for him, 2 individual and 2 in the relays against both Meadowdale and Mariner. Tell me how Zach's doing right now.
I mean, he's doing amazing. Looking at him from freshman year to now, you definitely see not only a change in his performance in swimming, but kind of his attitude at practice. He used to be pretty timid, and he's really gotten out of his shell, become a great leader, and he's really stepped up into his role.
And then who are some of the other swimmers we're watching right now, guys?
Our team is a lot of freshmen and underclassmen, so it's a young team, but there's also some leaders in that young group. So Adrian Sieber, Eric Poon, and Eli Milan. Eli's a club swimmer, so he's got a lot of experience. Eric also did summer league, so he's got a decent amount of experience. And Adrian is just a natural athlete. He's a football player. He's track. He's the same thing that I kind of do all around, 3 sport seasons.
Keeps himself going at all times.
Oh, yeah. But they're all very good leaders and set good examples for the team in commitment and focus and just their effort too that they put out.
Well, as two of the seniors on the team and with so many young guys, it makes your jobs a little bit easier too in terms of having to take on those leadership roles when you've already got young guys who are already kind of there, right? Andrew, I mean, are you still having to kind of give them a little bit of guidance as they go, or how's that been working?
Yeah, I mean, especially with Zach, Zach likes to have his fair share of fun during practice, and so, you give that little push to, be a leader here. But it has definitely been a lot easier. After school, I'll have to be at an ASB meeting, or I have something, but maybe I'll go to practice 30 minutes late. And I can rely on those younger guys, especially Brian and Zach, to really get the job done when it comes to stretching, ab workouts, getting everyone in the pool, warmed up, ready for practice. So once I'm there, I don't have to be stressing about, oh, this person's not warmed up, this person doesn't know what they're doing. So they've really been wonderful about getting everyone going. And even the meet on Thursday when we went against Kamiak, I had to arrive about an hour late. And I didn't have to worry about any of it. I didn't have to worry about who was leading stretching, who was going to get everyone warmed up, who was doing our team chant. I could just rely on those guys and handle my business.
It makes life a lot easier, that's
Yeah.
for sure. Things have changed a little bit with the dynamics of the team this year. Last year, Lynnwood and Meadowdale were kind of a combined team. Obviously, you scored different points, but one coach, kind of one team working together. This year, David, that's changed a little bit, right? Two coaches now, but you're practicing at the same time?
Yeah, so the change happened a little later than it probably should have. So we still have the same schedule as Meadowdale. We still practice at the same pool as them. And we're still like close with all the guys on that team because, we were essentially one team before. Now it's kind of split in two. So, but we still have the same bond as if we were one team with them. And it's...
And now, so Tracy Dostard, who was there last year as an assistant coach, is now the head coach, is that correct?
Yes.
And yet Coach Katie, who coaches Meadowdale, is also still right there. So are you still getting guidance for both coaches? Or
Yes.
And how's that been working? I've got to think that's a pretty nice 1-2 punch for you guys and for both schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Katie is definitely comfortable with a lot of our swimmers, and so if we're supposed to be warming up and Tracy's not paying attention to him, maybe if I'm standing outside the pool, Katie will come over and be like, "Hey, Andrew, get in the pool." And because the two teams are so friendly with each other, there's a lot of joking around between both the teams, and the coaches have been awesome at keeping us kind of focused. Whether it's Katie talking to us about, hey, get in the pool, go do your work, or Tracy saying, hey, Max, stop reaching over the lane line and grabbing Zach, go get swimming.
Very good. And Tracy, speaking of which, sent me a nice email about both of you two this week and gave me some of your accolades, and very impressive outside of the pool as well as in the pool. Andrew, I'm going to start with you. 4.0 student, ASB vice president, and you're a swimmer. You're team manager for the football team. I mean, how do you balance everything? It's got to be kind of tough on a schedule when you're trying to keep those grades up and you're also doing all these other activities.
I found that to keeping my grades up. It's easier to keep my grades up when I am in a sport than when I'm not, because when you are a swimmer, when you are a team manager, when you have ASB, you're on certain time restraints. So you look at your schedule and you say, I have an hour to do my homework. You get the homework done in an hour versus you have 6 hours and you spread it out and kind of relax in between and waste your time. And so it's really helped me to lock down on my grades and my time use. And then in turn, it's really meant that I am keeping a very organized schedule, so I know I have ASB at this time, I have practice at this time, I have family dinner at this time, I have to take my brother to work at this time, where am I going to do homework in that time? And sometimes it means, giving up those small things that you like doing, going out with your friends, spending the night at someone's house. But it's a struggle, but it's definitely easy.
Very good. And then David, for you, kind of the same question. I know 3-sport athlete, you're involved with leadership at school. You've got a lot on your plate as well. So is it something you struggle to manage at times, or is it kind of fairly easy to you?
Not really. I mean, schoolwork, I'm not taking similar classes as him. He's definitely smarter than me, so he's got the harder classes.
He's smarter than all of us.
Yes. So it's not more challenging for me to manage my education. All my teachers give me time in class to finish the homework, so I don't really have to take home a lot of stuff. And then sports, I mean, I've grown up doing sports my whole life, so I'm just kind of used to, I get home, my mom and sister out of the house at her sport for the day, and I don't really do family dinners because nobody's at the house at the same time. So it's
Too many activities going on.
yeah, it's a busy household.
I can imagine. And then, Andrew, for you, we've got to mention this. This is kind of a big one here. You were the Centurylink Athlete of the Week recently, which meant that was a part of one of the Seahawks programs. Tell us what all that involved and what you got to do. First of all, how did you get that award? Were you nominated?
Yeah, so my swim coach, Coach Tracy, nominated me for this award early September, and it wasn't something really that I thought much about. She said, Andrew, I'm nominating you for this award. It would give our athletic department a $1,000 grant, and it recognizes kids for academic success and success in their sport. And so she told me that, and it went to the back of my mind. But then it was early November, and she calls me down to her office, and she's like, Andrew, you won the award. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And so what that award means is that we get $1,000 towards our school, and then I get recognized at a Seahawks game. I get to go to a Seahawks practice. Yeah.
Now, the Seahawks game has already happened, right?
Yeah, it was the 49ers.
So did you get to go on the field? Did you get to go at halftime? What was...
Yeah, so before the game, we go onto the field, and it's actually pretty cool. We're standing in the end zone. I'm standing there watching all the linemen warm up, and I look next to me, and I see this little kid wearing Richard Sherman jersey. I'm like, that kid looks so familiar. And then right as I'm thinking that, I see Richard Sherman run over and pick up his child and kiss his wife 3 feet away from me. And Richard Sherman's a player. Obviously, he doesn't play with us anymore. But he's someone that I always looked up to and loved to watch play for a really long time. And so seeing that was so cool.
Pretty big thrill.
Yeah.
And then also you got to go to their practice also on the Friday before, is that right?
Yeah, and so we went and we talked with several Centurylink and Seahawks executives. And we talked to them about kind of what they do, how they manage stress, just everything involving their jobs. And then after that, we went down and watched the Seahawks practice. And it's pretty cool. One of the other people who was there, who won the award, he's a punter for Ballard High School. And so he was talking to the head of sports science about Michael Dixon and the way that he punts and how he thinks it's really cool, how he can keep his leg limp while he kicks. And then 10 minutes later, the guy comes out with Michael Dixon, and the Ballard kid is talking to Michael Dixon about the way that he punts. And so it was just small stuff like that all throughout the day, and it was so cool to see.
At that point, you're supposed to tell him that you think it's very fascinating how Russell Wilson throws a football and see if he comes over to talk to you then, right?
Yeah, so
for next time.
After the practice, Russell Wilson did come over.
Oh, he did come over and talk. Okay, very good.
And then Pete Carroll did, and then KJ Wright.
Nice. And David, there was a picture that that he sent you guys too, right? Or did you not see a picture of Andrew with you were telling me earlier?
Oh, no, I was just excited because I'm like, oh, he gets to take a picture with the Seagulls and a big check.
Oh, the grant check.
Yeah, so there's just a picture of him with just big old check, Seagull, and then the representative from Centurylink. I'm like, that's my boy.
Very nicely done. And David, for you, one of the things that Coach Tracy mentioned, she really said that you stand out as a peer mentor, and also mentioned that you help make sure underclassmen get rides to practice, which we don't think about this in swimming, but you guys don't actually practice at the school. There's not a pool at Lynnwood High School. Some of these underclassmen don't have licenses and need a ride, so you're kind of the guy, the go-to, is that right?
Yeah, we don't get a bus to the pool either, so I have like a bigger SUV that can fit a lot of guys, so I'm standing outside the ASB office after school waiting for my guys to come up and just count them off and see who needs rides today, who has a ride, who needs a ride home after practice. So there could be anywhere from 6 to 7 guys usually. It's higher amount that I'm taking on a daily basis. So
all part of being a good leader. And then finally, for both of you, you're both very smart. Both do well in school. What are your future ambitions? David, maybe I'll start with you first. What do you want to do?
I want to go to Wazoo and study architectural design.
And you've already been accepted, right? So
yes.
You already know you're on your way there. And then Andrew, our resident in science here. What's your plan for the future?
I want to attend the University of Washington and study aerospace engineering.
And what would you like to do with the aerospace engineering degree?
I want to build rockets.
He wants to build rockets. David, any doubt that he can do it?
No. I think I'll probably just get a text somewhere in the future, be like, guess where I'm going? The moon. Just bye.
The sky is not the limit for him, apparently. So again, David, Andrew, both having successful years in the pool and having outstanding years outside of it. Guys, congratulations on everything you've been able to accomplish thus far, and looking forward to following both of you into your future to see what you're able to accomplish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, those guys are amazing.
Yeah, wanting to work on rockets.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin.
I don't either. I'm
I'm
just
glad
thinking about
there are
what-
people like Andrew in the world,
Yeah.
because if it were a bunch of Steves, we'd be in a lot of trouble.
All right, well, moving
Not
on.
a rocket scientist, let's put it that way.
Oh, there's so many jokes you can make
Yeah.
about rocket science. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about wrestling.
Yeah, wanted to mention the Edmonds-Woodway girls wrestling team this week. I know Mike Cooper in My Edmonds News had a nice write-up. This is from last week on December 7th. But the Edmonds-Woodway girls wrestling team, a team that now has 20 participants on it. My, how that sport has taken off, and we'd love to see that. 9 different girls on that team took second place at the Olympic tournament in Silverdale on December 7th. So congratulations to them. I know Victoria Keys, who we've been covering for the last couple of years now, a 2-time state participant, did well there, as well as some of her teammates. So congratulations to them. Meanwhile, the boys are in El Cajon, California this weekend. At a big match down there, and so we'll certainly have some results in the future coming up for that. But nicely done, Warriors ladies, and we hope that they continue with their successful season.
Okay, and there's, even though we're not in volleyball season anymore, we have some volleyball news.
I definitely wanted to make sure we mention this. A couple of these young ladies were in studio, and we've talked about all 3 of them all year long, but the Washington State Volleyball Coaches Association came out with their all-state teams this week, and 3 of our Lynnwood Royals girls players made the honorable mention team, which is kind of a big deal. Riley Monin, Ashley Anderson, and Kiana Pell, all 3 picking up that honor. So congratulations to all of them, and certainly wish them luck into the future. And it was fun covering them this year, and we're still hearing about them, so why not?
That's right, really great. And what's coming up this week?
Yeah, I figured we'd throw out a few notes there in case anybody's looking to go out and support Edmonds School District athletics this week. It's kind of interesting. The boys basketball teams on Wednesday night, all 4 of them have home games. Generally speaking, 2 are off in one direction and 2 in another. So if you want to watch one of your boys basketball teams play, Wednesday night is the night to do it. Edmonds-Woodway hosts Oak Harbor. Lynnwood has Stanwood. Meadowdale has Arlington. And Mountlake Terrace has Marysville-Getchell. And then the girls get their version of that on Friday when all 4 of the girls' teams are at home. Lynnwood will be hosting Oak Harbor, Meadowdale, Marysville-Getchell, Edmonds-Woodway host Everett, and Mountlake Terrace host Arlington. So you can't say that you didn't have a chance to support all 8 of your teams this week if you root for one of those schools or if you know of any of the players on either of those teams. And then also wrestling this week, Mountlake Terrace and Edmonds-Woodway will both be at Mountlake Terrace High School on Thursday night, along with Archbishop Murphy, so you can get on out there and watch a little wrestling. And both the Lynnwood and Edmonds-Woodway girls teams for wrestling will be at the Stanwood Scramble this Wednesday night. So if anybody wants to travel up there, it's one of the bigger girls wrestling events that takes place in Snohomish County during the season. So that's coming up. And then we can't leave out the swimmers. Give them one more nice shout out here, as all 4 of our Edmonds School District teams will be over at the Lynnwood Pool on Thursday. That starts at 3 p.m. for a big match over there. So plenty of opportunities to get out and watch sports this week.
Yeah, very good. And we're coming up on winter break soon, I think, after this week.
Winter break at the end of the week, and we're still going to do one more show.
We
so
got
next
one more
week.
show.
Yeah.
We're going to take a week off at the end of December and then come back after that. But yeah, so we'll have all the results for you and what's coming up. There's a lot of holiday tournaments and things to talk about. So we will see you next week, and have a great week, everybody.
Take care.